Good evening, my name is Scotty Walsh. I'm a modern-day vaudevillian. What that means, if you don't know the phrase, is I'm broke. No, it means I've made a living for the past decade traveling around as a trapeze artist, spaghetti juggler, puppet maker, and old-time comic. 3 months ago, I moved to Baltimore from Paris, and next week I begin work at Port Discovery as the Early Intervention and Visual Arts Specialist. I'd like to talk about the activation of public spaces, specifically forms of public-private partnerships that could improve both publicly and privately owned public spaces. But first, I suggest the term space activation fuels the myth that a space can be activated. The mechanical is activated. When something non-living takes on a life of its own, this, as scary movies have taught us, is called animation. And public spaces, first and foremost, are alive. Speaking of movies, if you build it, they will come. This is one of those famous movie line misquotes that's been repeated so many times it's just accepted as true. But this is fantasy, not urban planning. Too many people think if they design and build the perfect space, then the space, like ghosts from a cornfield, will animate itself. Spending millions of dollars to build a beautiful public space, but not spending the thousands of dollars necessary to program that space, is like building a beautiful restaurant and not bothering to serve food. Activities are the food. If you build a park, offer a diverse selection of activities at a variety of prices, from free to not free, and design the space with those activities in mind. Now, I'm not just talking about one other thing. Please think about shading play areas and at different times of day, because we have to do better than these abandoned playgrounds from hell that charbroil toddler flesh on contact. But I'm not just talking about shaded play areas, biking trails, jogging trails, also interactive sculptures, street performing pitches, big stages, little stages, sidewalk chalk art, ice skating rinks, wooden boats in the fountain, carousels, miniature trains and giant chessboards and normal-sized chessboards in puppet theaters, and art studios and art galleries and coffee shops with art galleries and art galleries with stages and stages with coffee shops and coffee shops with stages. In the park? Yes, in the park. And I believe that through a series of creative partnerships between vendors and artists and developers, the addition of activities in these spaces could be budget neutral in the short term and highly profitable in the long term. Granting concessions to a limited number of artists and vendors could actually make the above activities viable, if not lucrative, for the artists and vendors. And artists and creative vendors, from street performers and puppeteers to wooden boat and giant chess piece rental people, could be granted exclusive concessions in exchange for agreeing to fixed standards, fixed schedules, and fixed prices. A person or a group could coordinate and monitor these activities, and they could be paid, at least in part, from the concession fees from the artists and vendors. But look at the bigger picture. Look how active and vibrant this space is now. Think about the income this will generate for businesses. Think about the rent for retail and living space nearby. An animated public space will pay for itself many, many, many times over, not to mention the jobs it creates. In economic terms, this is the positive externality of community interaction. Don't just build a restaurant, plan the menu. Plan for the young, urban, hip, yes, but also for seniors and families, because many of the young, urban, hip will eventually have kids, whether they want them or not, and they'll eventually get old. Animated public spaces welcome all types. It's about remembering how to interact with people who don't have a screen around them. Having faith in people, even as technology makes it easier to conduct our business without interacting face-to-face with another person. Resist the temptation to only trust machines. Listen to wacky ideas. Too often now the answer to everything is just no. No, we don't do that here. No, we don't want that here. No, that might scare the children. No, we might get sued. No, we don't want live music. We'll just turn on the TV over the bar. That needs to stop. The UK Telegraph writes, oh, you'll mess up my timing. The UK Telegraph writes that children spend so much of their lives on computer games and so forth, the idea of something as simple as a puppet fascinates them. See, technology has offered so many solutions, we expect it to solve everything now. And that's why I say that hundreds of years of knowledge point the way to animating public spaces. But despite the age, or maybe because of the age of this knowledge, it goes unimplemented. public spaces today are tragically underused. Amidst all the slick 21st century technological improvements, my message is to remind you that some things still have to be done the old-fashioned way. Animating public spaces is one of those things. By investing now in public spaces designed to encourage and facilitate animation, from performance and visual art to simple activities, we make a short-term investment that will return huge dividends. We have always known that art was good for communities, and now we know that art makes good economic sense too. I hope that next we start acting like we really believe that. Thank you very much. It's an honor.